Samson laid me down on a bed of moss and cleaned the blood and grime off my skin. He slowly moving his hands along my sexy comatose body. Really?
No? No.
Fucking really?
The answer is no.
The answer is no. This is bad, and you should feel bad.
Yes.
Checking for any cuts and clean. Wow, hang on, I need a moment.
I'm getting flashbacks to Evangelion. Wow.
God. Unfortunately, I know what you're talking about. I've gone out of my way to not watch that show.
Yeah, same here.
Because everyone who has seen it and knows me well has told me, Hawkeye, do not fucking watch Evangelion.
Even I've told you not to watch that show.
I'm pretty sure you have. Checking for any cuts and cleaning them up with the magic water.
That we have now.
When? How? Where did it come from? Fuck you!
Maybe it was pee.
Please, God, no. No,
you
not
know
this
we've
time.
read worse. We have read worse.
That is not an excuse.
I didn't say it was. I was just
the
like...
fact that something more awful exists is not an excuse to be awful.
Oh, well, technically when I was reading the 3 Sonic fanfics by Casper, he did have the magical well, which was a toilet bowl.
Oh, God, I remember reading Casper's stuff. I didn't read the Sonic stuff with you, but I did definitely read his stuff.
Yeah, the Pokemon things.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Go away, I hate you.
Yes. Yeah, but no. Ah, Selby. Selby was like the coolest part of that story, because it's become one of our go-tos.
Yeah. Because it's so true. Like, his attitude is just, in that story, is just everything we should be.
Yeah, it is. Like, if you, me, and P-chan were there, that's what we would be like. Minus the randomly saying go away or I'll kill you. That's kind of the attitude we would have.
Yeah. Just like, fuck this, we're gonna, like, eat ramen and watch anime.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Anyway, cleaning them up with the magic water, in quotes, then starting a small fire, again, somehow, and sitting by my side trying to stay awake, but eventually falling asleep by my side.
Okay, so he started a small fire. What really could he start a fire with? If the island is made out of most, like, gold-like material and gem-like material.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I can think of that you might be able to start, uses, something to start a fire with is that moss, if you dried it out.
Yeah.
Like, what would you use for, an actual long burning fire? I mean, maybe, maybe the trees still are composed of wood.
Perhaps.
Maybe the leaves are gold, but the rest of it is wood.
Yeah.
But I think the real truth of the matter is that you and I are giving it more thought than the author did.
Yeah. Yeah. Then out of the darkness crept a lone figure quietly talking to itself. Hehehe. They finally fell asleep. Shh. Can't wake them. The boy will surely run me through.
The boy will surely run me through.
Oh, surely run me through.
He'll be in a really bad mood.
Like he did the Gundamins?
The Gundams!
Gundams, okay. That would I would like to go and watch Gundam Wing, maybe some other Gundam series. That'd be okay.
Yeah, maybe. Gundams. Wow.
That what fine weapons? I'll just take these for my Sewilf.
My Swolf.
My Swolf. He snickered. He was Garth, the thief, a lonely wanderer who...
How do we know this?
I don't know, but the story's telling us.
I know, but it's like, show, don't tell. There's no reason for us to know this.
Well, that's kind of what I meant. The story decided you'll know this now, so here you go. Even though there's no reason we should.
Exposition out of fucking nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Garth, the thief, a lonely wanderer who stumbled across the
A
island.
lonely wounder. So he just goes around like, just slashing people and then walking away.
What a dick! He must be part of the Stabbingtons. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Across the island and was filled with greed, but the island Gundams, just dams now, let him be, for he was no harm? Wait.
I would disagree.
Wait. Okay, first you said the island would basically attack you, or the demons would, or demons, my bad, would attack you if you tried to pluck whatever the fuck the island's made out of and take it with you. So you're like, well, we don't do that. But this guy...
To be fair, that was just conjecture on Emily's part. Or was it Samson? Anyway, it was just...
I think it was Samson, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But this would confirm their speculation from earlier. Unless this is their thoughts later where they're still supposing. Why, like, whatever, I should not try to reason this out.
Well, and while it's doing this piece of exposition, it's like, but the island Gundams let him be. It's like, what are the island Gundams? We don't know this.
I would assume that those three demons from earlier, but that,
right.
Again, is supposing.
I'm putting, and extrapolating from what's been said, but again, this was never established, and you're talking to us as if it has been.
Yeah. Let him be, for he was, because before he was no harm. He was a good soul. No, he's not.
Bullshit!
If he's a thief stealing shit, then he's not a good soul. Well, he might have good feet if he's a thief.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
Hey, 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 hey. What a pretty girl you are, he grinned. Yes.
So he's a creeper too, on top of everything else.
Well, she is naked.
I know, but that doesn't change the fact that he's like, what a pretty girl you are.
He grinned his pearly white sharp teeth.
Sharp teeth? Why does he have sharp teeth?
Because he's a sharp tooth. It would maybe make the story better.
Yeah, I guess.
As he softly ran his hand across my breast. How would you know he did that?
Officially not a good soul. 'Cause now he's molesting you in your sleep.
Also, how would you know he did this since you were unconscious?
Right. Yeah, you're right. That's stupid. That's just, it doesn't make any sense.
As he softly ran his hand across my breasts.
Breasts.
This one's Petunia, this one's Roxy.
Oh dear.
Then, as quick as he came out of the darkness, he was gone back into the forest of riches.
Wow. Okay. I woke up the next day clean and clothed. How? How are you clean and clothed?
Samson?
Yeah, I mean, do you know how heavy an adult body is? I mean, I know this guy has super strength, but I mean, a limp body is super unwieldy. Are you saying that he dressed you?
That would be my guess, but see again, I'm guessing.
That would be practically impossible, at least without waking you up.
Yeah. I would say probably not the armor, but maybe at least something to, maybe some panties or something, but
She sleeps like the dead, I guess, because, like, clothed, maybe I could see that,
yeah.
But also clean? If she was cleaned, no way would you sleep through being immersed in water.
Yeah, well, that's assuming she was immersed in water and he didn't just, like, make tricks to get some water or something.
Even then, because, that's something your body registers as a mild shock. And that's why, people will, historically, dump water on somebody to wake them up because the body is shocked by it. Anyway, I could see what once was a fire smoking, and I could see what once was a fire smoking, so did it just go out then? Okay.
Yes.
And Samson sitting next to me. I sat up and he handed me food. I was so hungry I stuffed it all in so fast. Slow down, Samson said, you'll hurt yourself.
Where did you guys get food?
Yeah, that's an excellent question.
Did he hunt? Because their weapons are supposedly gone now, and they definitely did not bring provisions with them.
Yeah. Something must have stolen our weapons last night. When I woke, they were gone. Man, you suck at this game, Samson.
They didn't get high perception rolls.
Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, if this guy is a warrior, and he seems to be like a hardened warrior, he would probably have something to attach his weapon to himself. But again, maybe I'm reading too much into it. What had happened last night? I couldn't remember anything, I thought, then it came back to me. How?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you would remember being raped by demons.
I dropped my food and just sat there. Then I remembered my father. I looked away from Samson and said, let there be no talk of what happened. It doesn't matter. Right now all that matters if fiending my father and getting home. Samson replied, we don't have much time. I heard one of the demons say that their king is going to eat a powerful Viking tonight on the full blue moon to gain his power. There's no doubt it's your father. We must hurry to the Treasure Island Demon Village and save your father.
Okay, first of all, this is wordy as fuck. Second of all, why would a demon eat a human? Questionably human. There is nothing, unless he somehow thinks he's like some kind of other demon or minor god or something, for him to supposedly eat, never mind. It's all stupid. It's just stupid. Where are we? Okay, there we are. We made our way through the treasure forest to the demon village, making good time. Maybe. Finally, we cleared the top of the last hill, and we were looking over the village. It was a small village. Wait, if the king's there, wouldn't it kind of be a more grand, up-to-do village?
Yeah, I would think.
It was a small village. Only the top in charge Domons were allowed, as in here, to live there, so there were only maybe 20 or so. No, there would be guards and shit.
Yeah, really.
That we counted, but they were much bigger than the Domons we had ran into before. Big enough to knock a house down with one strike. Then they're giants.
Fee-fi-fo-fum.
I smelled the blood of some stupid bitch. They had already began their chanting. There wasn't much time left. Wait, so it's nighttime now? We had to act. We could see my father tied up to a pole in the center of
like an election poll.
Yes. In the center of town. I'm assuming something like a witch would be at the stake. I guess. And the demons were circled around him. What were we to do? Exclamation point, question mark, parentheses, question mark in parentheses. Wowie.
Then it came to me. Gollum!
What's he going to do? You're on the land.
Yeah. I needed his help. Samson, lend me your energy. I'm going to form a spirit bomb. I need to call Gollum the Great Octopus. With 2 S's. He will help us. We sat down and held hands. We closed our eyes and focused all our energy on ethnobotany. We started to glow.
Then the demons would notice you.
It got super intense. Out of the sky fell Gollum the Great Octopus. He was larger than a fucking Mautian. He was larger than a fucking Mautian. He was killing and tearing apart the demons. Why would an octopus be an ideal land warrior?
That's what I was saying. Also, she didn't mention that this thing was fucking huge when she first met it.
Yeah, really. Out of the forest, like Forrest Gump, came hundreds, as in I continue to dread this. No, thousands of demons. Wait, what? I thought there were only like 20 there. Where did the rest come from?
Magic.
Attacking Gollum, but nothing could hurt him. He was invincible. Invincible.
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Yeah. Tarring flesh and crunching bounds. Fire was falling from the sky all around the island. Damn, girl. Burning and hell was coming out of the ground, but nothing could hurt him. He killed the whole fucking island. So if he killed literally the whole fucking island, you've now sunk to the ocean.
Everybody is dead now. This mission was a failure. The Blooper King was not happy.
It started to sink into the abyss. Samson grabbed me and we bolted over to my father. Together we ran to Samson's boat, dodging and cutting demons the whole way. Okay. We jumped onto the boat, and to our surprise, Garth was there. Again, you would not know who Garth was. You were unconscious. Huddled down under our supplies, but we had no time. We cast off and got the hell out of there just in time, sailing off away from that cursed island. Really hope you guys like it. If you didn't, you don't have to be a dick and post mean things about it or me. I worked really damn hard on it. You know, I can believe that, and this has potential. It needs work. It needs proofreading, and it needs professional assistance. This could be a good story if you worked on it.
And there's more.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have the second part, or do I need to give it to you?
Alright. Let's see. Part 1 of Part 2 of Emily H. the Viking Princess. That is really strangely phrased.
Yeah, even though it says part 1, it's actually the second half. So in case anybody's confused about that.
I'm already confused.
We're all confused. Part 2 of Emil H. the Viking Princess.
Oh my goodness, she misspelled her own name.
We had made it. Samson and I had saved my father, and we were now on our way home. Yay! Adrenaline was still pumping through my veins, and my eyes showing a slight hint of gold in them.
Ugh! Stop it!
But I had sown it. What?
But I had done it, I think is what she's trying to say.
I had sown it. I hugged my father so tightly, and I started explaining to him all that had happened, written terribly, and I need a beta. I told Tole him about Simpson and the dragon and how we found the island and everything. So even that you guys have had sex like 3 times and more.
Oh yeah, she was really proud of that part, and her father was like, "That's my girl."
I was just so happy I had my father back. Then my father turned to Samson, who was... Wait, is that... What? Or is that just my screen that's dirty? Nope, that's a...
There's an
quote.
apostrophe there.
Yeah, okay. Who was trying to talk to Garth, but Garth hadn't said a word the whole time. I don't know why that's got its own little quote, single quote, for some reason.
I don't know.
My father called Samson over. Also, wouldn't you notice he's got your shit? So why not, like, kick his ass and, like, get your stuff back? My father called Samson over and looked into his eyes. So, I have you to thank for keeping my Emily safe. You have done me and my whole village a great deed, and I am in your debt, good sir. Samson just smiled and shook my father's hand. Samson asked if he could talk to my father in private. They went below deck to talk.
Swapping more sex stories.
Or maybe doing some of their own.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess I wouldn't put past this.
I wondered what they could be talking about. I had no idea, and it frustrated me to no end. Probably your dowry, considering he's had
Yeah.
sex with you. And back then, that was good as marriage.
Well, it was a different culture entirely.
Yeah. Gareth came over and sat next to me. I looked over at his dirty, soiled body and realized he couldn't have been much older than Samson. He was tall and, are you going to make this your love triangle? Oh, son.
I fucking hope not.
He was tall and had sharp teeth, because he's a sharp tooth.
Yeah, I guess.
He stood and took off his shirt, exposing his rock-hard tan chest. Okay. I couldn't help but think how hot he was.
You fucking hussy!
I gotta have all the men's. He smiled at me and dove into the water for some reason. I ran over to the side of the ship and watched him swim with two M's through the water like a fish in his cut-off shorts.
I think that's probably supposed to be shorts, but
Yes.
it's shorts.
I was thinking about joining him in the water 'cause it was a hot day and the water looked so nice. But just then my father and Samson came up for me below, so I turned and asked what they were talking about. They both smiled at me and said, "We can't tell you that. It's a surprise."
I shot them a evil glar, then smiled. I hate surprises, but I guess I have to wait. I laughed and then jumped into the water with Garth, and we swam around and played in the water. Okay. After 4 days on the boat, boy, you suck at this whole timing thing. Our little Viking town was in sight. Happiness spilled out. I smiled and hugged Sam Austin so tightly we had made it. We pulled into the harbor and docked Samson's small ship. Martha, a Viking who was an old friend of mine, saw us first and yelled, "Emily's back and she saved her father! Samson and Emily did it!" Exclamation point, exclamation point. Oh.
Look, nobody wouldn't even knew that you was going to go do a thing. You guys just went and did it.
No, they got help, remember?
Did they?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember, apparently.
They had to find out from the survivors of the old crew where to go.
Well, no, they talked to one who was a good friend of her dad's, and he told...
But, I mean, you gotta at least assume that kind of news would spread, especially with flaming ship and everything.
I suppose. Well, yeah, and they were also, like, on fire, and they killed a thing.
Yeah.
And then they were flying, so...
And of course, Emily's just kind of a big deal by default.
Mm-hmm.
Emily did it! Exclamation point, open parenthesis, question mark, close parentheses. Like lightning, the whole village was around us, yelling and asking how we did it. What had happened. It's not like I wasn't happy to see everyone, but all I wanted to do was go back to my house and be with Samson and my father. My father must have synced this. He shouted, "It's been a long week. My daughter and I are going back to our house to rest. We will see you all tomorrow." The crowd made a path and we set off towards our house. I made a small bed out of straw in the corned. Okay. Straw in the corned. For Garth to sleep in, before heading to my room where Samson was waiting.
Why did he go home with you? Why didn't he go find his own place?
Holy crap, paragraph breaks!
Yeah, I know, but after this, it goes back to the way it was. I crawled into bed with him and snuggled up to his warm body. I asked him, "What were you and my father talking about the other day on the boat?" ? In parentheses. He just looked at me and smiled. I squinted my golden eyes because they're suddenly golden.
Stop that!
Because they're golden again now. Instead of just a little bit. At him playfully, and he kissed me. We started making out, and I reached into his shorts because it's not like my dad's going to be able to hear us like bonking. I'm sure he'll enjoy hearing that on his first night back home.
Right?
He was rock hard. He pulled my dress over my small body, so I was naked because I don't wear like underwear or anything underneath my
Yeah,
dress.
nothing at all.
He turned me over, so we were in the doggy position, and he started sexing me.
Started sexing me. She keeps wording it like that, and I'm like, that is so awkward. It's like you don't want to actually say what's going on almost.
Yeah. I just keep having flashbacks to the adventures of Dark Kagami.
Yeah, which I haven't gone through that yet, so.
It's bad. It's
Fair
hilariously bad, but it's pretty bad. Like a perfect song sang by elves in the clean white mountains.
What?
Sex isn't exactly like that.
That is such a weird simile. I'm not even sure where to begin.
Well, first off, there's apparently elves in her little world, and
I guess.
they live in a place called the White Mountains. So
Okay.
Elrond, I guess, but not Rivendell.
Alrighty.
I felt so amazing. He was so deep inside me, harder and harder. I climaxed like 3 times. No, you didn't!
Yeah, no.
Here's our rant in MIL about why this does not work. I lost track of all time as if we were in a whole different dimension of perfect sex.
Wow. That kind of sounds gross, actually.
My monies? Your monies.
Moans, I guess is what she's getting at, but yeah.
My moans were part of the song of sex.
It's not a good metaphor.
No. And now I'm just imagining weird things with, like, creation stories that involve singing the world into existence. Samson, like a griffin? No, he's not.
How does that even make sense?
On top of me, never missed a beat. He was the perfect boy for me. He finished and pulled out. Because, he's done with the part that makes him happy.
Done with this shit.
Where's my cigarettes? I rolled over into his armies and fell asleep to dream about being with my Simpson forever.
Oh, that's almost romantic. It makes me want to puke.
Almost, but not quite.
I woke up the next morning and rolled out of bed. Wow. Paragraph break and capitalization. Wowie. I woke up the next morning and rolled out of bed feeling amazing. Samson, okay, that didn't last long, was still sleeping, so I tiptoed out of my room to make my father and Samson food.
But we're not going to talk about Greth or whatever his name is.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I was looking through the kitchen but couldn't find anything to make when Garth... Oh, well, there he is.
Well, of course not. You guys been gone for like a week.
When Garth came through the front door, "Hi, Wayne." "Hi, Garth." With 4 orange pheasants. I guess it's supposed to be pheasants, but it's spelled really wrong. And a small bore, like a small bore rifle, hung over his shoulder.
Wait, so he went hunting and got all
I
this
guess.
food? Why?
Yeah, and that's a lot of food. 4 pheasants and a boar. That's like a feast. That's way more than enough for 3. I'm not much of a sleeper, so last night I went out to get some game, Garth said with a grunt as he dropped the meat on the table. My eyes couldn't leave him. He looked so hot carrying his catch. What a man, I thought. He grinned and feathered the birds and boar. You don't have to feather a boar. As I went out to my garden and picked some fresh fruits and veggies, together we made a feast good enough for the goddamn gods.
Because you would insult everybody.
Wait. Hang on. The goddamn gods. So what you're trying to say is the gods are self-damning.
Yes.
That is the single weirdest pantheon I've ever heard of.
Maybe they hate each other.
Yeah, it's like self-loathing gods. That is not the kind of god I would want to worship.
Oh, those gods must be like the kind of stories we read, where they're like so awesome, but they hate being so awesome, and their life just sucks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. God, I'm so pretty, it sucks.
Why couldn't Satan have made me less beautiful?
I feel dirty now. I just showered. Samson was the first to come out and see what we had prepared. He yawned and smiled, his eyes filled with sleep. Okay.
He just woke up, so they wouldn't be filled with sleep. He probably would have rubbed any lingering sleep away by now.
Hopefully.
From his eyes, not his dick, if that is what people are thinking.
Okay.
I had to catch myself and point that out.
Well, babe, this look is good. I smiled, my white teeth. Okay. Your teeth in that age would not be white.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They had not invented toothpaste back then. Your teeth are not going to be that great. And skipped over to my father's door. Food's ready, father. I heard him groan, and step onto the floor. I glided back over to the table and sat next to Samson. My father burst through his door. Damn, that smells good! Exclamation point 1. His eyes were filled with life. Yeah, I guess. He sat down and we all started eating, talking, and laughing. See, that at least sounds like Vikings.
Yeah.
It was heartwarming.
After we were done, I cleaned up as my father, Samson, and Gareth smoked a pipe outside on the front porch. I couldn't have been more happy face.
Yeah, and that's so short, just keep going.
I am. I was just like I came outside after I was don't with my work. Nope, fuck this. I'm just gonna go outside and hang out with the men.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
And asked Samson if he wanted to walk through the town with me. He held my hand as we started down the kill in the town.
Wait, what? As we started down the kill to the town? Damn!
Wow, apparently you have to, like, make sacrifices and shit before you can go into town.
It's like the self-loathing god version of a toll road.
Everyone we passed waved and shouted hello, and thanks for saving the village from that king dragon and other praises toward me for some reason.
Oh yeah!
I mean, I could understand they're like, oh my god, you killed the fucking dragon, you must be like fucking awesome or godlike or something.
Yeah, to be fair, in that culture, they probably would have been praised beyond belief.
Yeah, so well, yes, this would be a thing that happens. It would be a little to a higher extent, I think, than this. Like, maybe they would have had a feast in their honor or something.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that wasn't a thing. I mean, I understand that they were so tired that they just wanted to go to bed, but they would probably have a feast that, lasted for days.
Yeah.
It would be, you're a fucking hero, and the Norse party hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, like a gigantic, mead hall packed to the gills for days.
I felt so important. I say a beautiful red ribbon in a store window and asked Samson if he would get it for me. Why does he have to buy your shit? Why can't you buy your own shit? But before I had time to finish, the shopkeep said, "Oh, Emily, anything for you, my dear," and tied it in my golden hair.
Okay, and why is everything in "Oh, Emily, anything for you, my dear"? Each and every one of those words is capitalized. So they can't capitalize properly, but whatever.
Yep.
And there's no quotation marks.
Yep.
Sigh.
Yep. I couldn't stop smiling. My life was great, and everyone couldn't stop telling me how great I was. I was living in a dream, and the dream loved me. Yes, that would be great for a while, but eventually it would get fucking annoying. I guarantee you this.
Yeah. Wow. Emily H, is that you? Yeah, 'cause they would totally call you Emily H and not just Emily. Someone said from behind me. I turned and saw Sam and his right man, Eric. Who's that?
Mm.
Who was smoking a cigarette and it had an empty beer can in his hand.
No?
This is the 16th century! There are going to be neither cigarettes nor beer cans! This isn't a fucking biker gang! No, okay. You might have, like, a pipe, maybe? Cigarettes, no. And aluminum cans aren't gonna be invented for at least, for at least 3 centuries from where you're at right now. And beer, like we know it, probably wouldn't have been as prevalent. They probably would have been drinking mead. But yeah, that's fucking stupid and totally anachronistic. Sigh. Sam, I questioned. I haven't seen you since grade school, and we haven't seen him ever. So you're using this familiar tone when we have no idea who this idiot is.
Also, how did you go to grade school with him?
Yeah, grade school was totally a thing back then. Yeah, totes. I'm okay.
Good to
Are
know.
you okay?
I'm not. Oh, okay. Okay.
You and your whole movie. Wow. Good job, brain. You and your whole family moved to Cornerstone Village years ago. What brings you back here?
Why would an entire Viking family, like, just pick up from the village they live in and go to another village, which is possibly, like, miles and days away?
He grinned almost angrily? What the fuck? Eric spit out his cigarette, which wasn't even lit, and started to say, "We're here to pun." "Shut up," Sam said, and knocked the can out of Eric's hand. What the fuck is even going on?
I think they're there to maybe do something to Emily or something, and the guy was just about to spoil it? I don't know.
Yeah, wow, this is really poorly written, even compared to everything else. Sam looked at me with an annoyed look as Eric took out a new cigarette out of his pocket and lit it. With what? A lighter? No! Fucking no! No! No cigarettes, no lighters, no beer cans. Stop! I heard about the dragon you killed and had come back to see the little Emily I once knew who killed a king dragon, Sam said. I smiled and said yes. Yes, I did kill a king black dragon. I couldn't have done it without Samson's help, though. Samson put his arm around me and glared at Sam.
You didn't kill this thing with Samson's help. An angel showed up and gave you a flail-like weapon, which you hit in the dragon's face.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What are you, a wizard or some shit? Sam had a dark green earth cloak on. Cloak. That's not. Anyway. And stellar aviators on. Sunglasses? Seriously?
Yeah, the answer is no.
Ugh.
That would not be a thing that Vikings had then.
Fucking hell. No, Sam replied quickly and turned and walked away, Eric following while eating candy. Okay, whatever you say.
And they were heard from nevermore.
Yay!
I looked at Samson sharply. Why did you say that, Samson? That wasn't very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. Samuel was picked on in school a lot. So? I have no sympathy. I can relate, but I have no sympathy. So much his family moved away soon after.
Oh, please. Your parents aren't gonna move because you're getting picked on in school.
They might have you switch schools, but that depends on how many schools actually exist in your area.
Yeah, and not to mention grade school is not a thing
Hmm
in the ancient Norse.
I heard both his parents were murdered, and they never found out who the killer was. You shouldn't be so mean to him. Samson just spit on the ground because he's an asshole and said, I don't like the way he looks. He's got a bad vibe. Dispert to change the subject. I asked Samson to come to Thomas's house with me. Thomas was an old man, sometimes referred to as the village elder. Either he is or he's not. He wouldn't sometimes be referred to that. He played the most beautiful music. On the radio? Or does he actually have, things for music?
Considering how anachronistic this is getting, I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly somebody pulled a radio out of their ass.
We walked around to the edge of the village to his house and knocked on the door. He answered the door with a grim old smile. That's not flattering.
No, it's not.
And welcomed us in gently, even though he has a grim old smile. We talked for a while about our adventures together. Then Thomas asked if we would like for him to play a song.
He started playing. The music seeped into our bones and leached the marrow from them and seemed to list me off the ground. Samson looked deeply into my eyes and then got down on one knee. My heart stopped. Out of his pocket he pulled a ring made out of golden leaves. Okay, so much for not taking the golden leaves.
Yep.
Twisted into a ring, and on top they were holding a breathtaking golden diamond? Golden diamond. Okay then. He took a deep breath and asked me to marry him. Thomas smiled as he was playing his music. I let out a small scream and hugged Samson tightly, saying, yes, yes, yes. Exclamation point, open parenthesis, exclamation point, close parenthesis. Yes, I will. Thomas congratulated us before we left and walked back to my house. Samson told me that he was talking about marrying me to his father when we were on the boat the other day.
Wait. Okay, I'm sorry, because of how shittily it's worded, I was thinking about her marrying her own father, and I was just like, wait, what?
But yeah, you pretty much called it.
We got home, and Garth was balled up in the corner with no pants on, asleep. And my father was reading a book in his chair. Okay? From May that day on till we got married was just a blur of happiness and joy. And then I married him and my life was shit. Because he was a dick. The whole village was at our wedding where there were flowers. Well, they probably would be because weddings probably would be a big deal. A huge celebration. There were flowers and my dress was long sleeved and had a hood with white fox ears on it. Why?
Good question.
There wasn't ever a more magical day in all of history, except for the times that shit was magical, and that angel gave you a flail, and then you fought dragons and went to a literal treasure island with demons and got raped, and then a giant octopus came down and killed everything, and that night was even better. Happy face.
Yeah, of course it was. It had been a few months of lazy, happy days. All the excitement had died down and life was good. It was almost summer again now, and the town was having the spring festival. There were cherry blossoms raining down.
No, there wouldn't be.
Yeah, there are not going to be blossoms, cherry or chari, raining down over the town, and everyone was drinking and having a good time at the festival. This year they filled the fountain with wine, and everyone was dipping their cups into it. Even the kids were allowed a little taste.
Actually, they would be drinking along with the adults because back then, people didn't have an issue with that.
Samson and I were sitting together telling little kids stories of our adventures when it happened. Martha had been drinking a lot of wine and was at her kissing booth. What the fuck? When she stood up and just started walking away with a blank face. I thought nothing of it at the time, but then more people started doing the same, and more, till the whole town was walking away like zombies, even the children. Samson and I stood and followed them. Samson had his hand on his blade. "What's going on?" I whispered to Samson. He replied without taking his eyes off the people, "I don't know, Emily. Dark forces are at work." They all walked into a cave at the base of the mountains. I wondered if alchemy was at play here.
Alchemy? No, it'd just be magic in general, not alchemy. Alchemy is like trying to change stuff into gold.
Yeah, it's magical chemistry, basically, but it's clear that she doesn't know what words mean, what with the ethnobotany. We were in the cave now with what seemed to be the whole town when I heard a laugh. Samson and I turned to see Sam and Eric standing up top a rock, laughing and carrying on. They must have been blazed, because that's totally the vernacular and totally something they would be doing in Viking culture. They didn't even see us walking over to them.
What have you done, Samuel? What's going on? I yelled. They quit laughing and turned to face us. Emily, Samson, I should have known you two wouldn't be affected by my alchemy, Sam scowled. Eric started pulling what looked like a gun out of his jacket.
No, no, no. For so many reasons, no. A, you wouldn't have a portable gun in that era, in that culture. And B, you definitely wouldn't have a pistol. Fuck you! No, stop it!
But Sam put out his arm to stop him. Not here, Eric, said Sam. Sam then mumbled something under his breath, and there was a flash of blinding light. Blinding light.
Blinding.
Yeah, there we go, blinding light. By the time Samson and I could see again, Samuel, Eric, and all the people had disappeared. What were we going to do? Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Open parentheses, question mark, in parentheses. And we're done.
And we'll never find out.
So what'd you think of that story, Hawkeye?
I think it's great. I think its baking has really improved lately. Wait, what was the question?
I was asking you about this story in particular and what you thought of it.
Oh no, this story sucks. The thing is, there's a potential in this story to be good, as I've said, but, it needs to be edited and polished and fact-checked and all that stuff. I mean, again, things that really got under my skin were the anachronisms. It wouldn't be the 16th century. It would probably be like the 9th or the 10th. You would not be seeing fucking cigarettes and beer cans and lighters, and you definitely would not be seeing a handgun. They wouldn't have any idea what that would be. And, of course, there are, different little things strewn throughout the story that don't really make sense. But if they fixed this, and actually, wrote proper English, there is potential here to have an interesting story.
Mm-hmm. The second half is slightly better formatted than the first, because at least we have something of paragraph breaks. And we're sort of kind of trying to put things in quotations, but we're not really sure how to, I suppose. So either this is probably a very young person, or a troll, of course, but...
She's a teenager. I mean, she's probably 16 like her character. Because it's clearly a self-insert.
Yeah, I mean, they could be 16, but that doesn't mean they have to be.
But that would be my guess.
Yeah.
I would guess that they are 16.
But, I will have to say, if you're writing like this at 16, man, you must be really bad in literature class.
Or you just don't give a shit.
Well, that too.
And the problem is, if you're going to be writing for public consumption, you have to start giving a shit. You have to start giving a shit about writing proper English. You're not on fucking 4chan where, you know, people just type like morons all the time. You're not in a Yahoo or AOL chat room. You are attempting to write literature. And when you write literature, you have to appear literate.
Yeah. Now, granted,
It's just all there is to it.
Mhm. Now, granted, as we've said before, clearly creative writing is a lot different from technical writing that you would do in school anyway. But, I mean, if you read a couple of books and just examine how they have things formatted, how dialogue is placed, you'll get a general idea of what you would need to do differently in order to write, you know, basically creatively for anything really. My suggestion is, and advice is the same as yours. You need to learn how to write proper sentences. You need to learn how to use punctuation. You need to learn how to space your paragraphs properly so that we know what is a paragraph and what's not.
Yeah.
And you need to use quotation marks for when people are speaking. And you also need to learn how to separate people speaking, you know, having a conversation with each other, because that can throw people off too.
Right.
And not everybody knows like to change lines and things. But of course, that's what you learn as you write and go and get advice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and every time someone finishes speaking, there's a new paragraph. Every time. It's, open quote, whatever person is saying, close quote, and then a new paragraph.
Yeah, I mean, you can have maybe some description in there, but people are never going to be speaking on the same line, and they probably aren't going to be speaking in the same paragraph.
Never. Never do two different people speak in the same paragraph.
Do they not? Because the way I was taught, they're never speaking in the same line. You always have to have them on two different lines, even if it is in the same paragraph.
You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to have two people speaking in the same paragraph.
Well, I'll be combing through books now to see if what people do or don't do in dialogue now. But that's basically what I was told, and so that's the rule I follow.
Yeah, every time it switches to another person speaking, you're supposed to have a paragraph.
Basically, the reason for that is just so that it's easier to, you know, follow the conversation, because in a person's mind, if you have it all in the same place, people are just going to think it's the same person talking, but then you have, you know, your quotes and things, and then they'll just get confused. And then they'll be like, wait, there's two different people talking, now there's like a third and fourth person, I don't know what's going on. And that's kind of what ends up happening here. The only saving grace, perhaps, is that after every time somebody speaks, she says who's talking, and then they just keep going.
Yeah, it's just the single biggest issue in this whole story is the formatting, the grammar, and the syntax.
Yeah.
A very close second is all the anachronisms.
Yeah.
And then the way certain words are used, like ethnobotany, you'll probably want to choose a different word, and either way, you need to have some sort of explanation for what it is. And anytime that you say, you know, you introduce somebody and it's like, hey, this is Greg or whatever, we shouldn't know that they're Greg until they've introduced themselves, you know, or have some other important reason why we know who they are.
So I think basically what we've learned from this story is that while you can have great ideas, you still need to know how to write correctly, format correctly, and spell correctly. And then, in addition to that, if you're writing anything, even an original story that takes place historically, you need to do your research, and if for some reason things are a little different, you should explain maybe why that is, because not everything can be like Samurai Champloo, where you just have like hip hop and shit in feudal Japan. Was that feudal? No, that was Meiji era Japan.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, it was an anime. Basically it took place like, I think during the Meiji era, but I'm not 100% sure. And then, but they had like boombox, and they would rap, and
Yeah, those weird anachronisms that are never explained always chafe me.
again, if you have some, we suggested earlier that maybe it was alternate history, where maybe they survived to modern day or survived to the 1600s. Like, how would that affect their culture? How would that affect other cultures around them? Would they be like a superpower or what?
Yeah, and even so, we still wouldn't have these technological anachronisms.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they did somehow survive to the 16th century, you probably wouldn't have cigarettes. You definitely wouldn't have beer cans.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, we could easily fix some of these things, like the beer can. We could say we walked by the tavern and he had a mug in his hand filled with mead.
Yeah, say he has a goblet of mead. Just change it just slightly.
Yeah. Again, the cigarette thing could possibly be a pipe of some kind.
Right.
And, what was the other thing that you got mad at? I can't remember.
Well, I definitely got upset with the fact that she kept describing herself as beautiful, and especially with the fact that she kept saying that she has golden eyes.
Yeah.
Because why? At no point did you give any explanation as to this otherworldly hue of her irises.
Aside from this whole ethnobotany thing, which doesn't even make sense if you're aware of what words mean. Again, we could simply solve this by saying, eventually finding out she has maybe demonic heritage or dragon heritage or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
It wouldn't be that hard to fix and, and still keep what you want. But then you suddenly have like an angel giving her a flail.
Yeah.
Well, where did the angel come from? How does that somehow fit into Viking cosmology?
And it's never touched on again.
Yeah, the angel, doesn't even show up or anything. Now, she says her mom dies, but you could maybe say, maybe that's just what her dad told her, and her mom's, really an angel or something. There are stories where that's a thing.
And you probably wouldn't say angel. One thing I would do is, again, you need to research what you're writing on, and, have her be like a Valkyrie.
Yeah. I mean, really, it would just take some time to basically, maybe this is just brain blah, that you're, just scribbling shit down, and you're not thinking, you're just getting it all down. To go back to later, when you have more time and you thought about it a little more, look over what you've written and pick out the things you like, and then go do some research to make it a better, proper story. Because this could be its own book if you invested time in it. This would be, I would read it.
Yeah.
Because I'm some of the ideas here are really cool. It's like the Griffins. And the whole thing going on with the Griffins in my...
Keep going back to that.
Because I was so into that. I was so interested in the concept of the Griffins. And I'm just by itself, the Griffins being their own, city-state, and then you could have humans as their own city-state, and then, and then, having to, fight the, hairy ass kiss, and it would just be a really good story. I was just so into it. But of
Uh-huh.
course it's MIL, so it goes nowhere and does nothing. It's just a neat idea.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's like this, but not. I mean, this isn't written as poorly as MIL, but
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. I think that's one of the things that really got my hackles up is the fact that it does have potential, and so much of that potential is squandered.
mm-hmm.
And, one of the things she says is, like anyone else, she's like, I don't want to hear nasty comments, and I'm trying to keep that to a minimum. Almost everything
Yeah,
I've said is supposed to be a way to try to improve yourself. And you said you worked really hard on it. I'm like, and I am willing to
yeah,
believe that. But the thing is, you require, at your level of writing proficiency, you require outside assistance. And if you shut everyone down saying, well, I don't want to hear anything bad about it, well, then you're not going to improve. And that would
yeah.
be really sad.
Even if your writing was decent or publishable level, you would still want somebody to look over it because even the
Yeah,
best writer is going to fuck up somewhere.
exactly.
And it just helps to have other pairs of eyes look at it and give you ideas and suggestions. And again, you don't have to accept those ideas and suggestions because sometimes what you have in mind actually works better than what other people have suggested. I mean, it just really depends.
Right. But I mean, there are some, certain factual things that you do have to improve. And that's, again, the spelling, the grammar, and
Basically the basics I would
yeah,
go back and look over. And if you're writing like this for fun, you're probably writing like this in your literature class. If it's available to you, openly go and seek help to learn, or I would hope they would try and teach you to improve your writing, to get help. Because there's nothing wrong with saying I need help because
yeah,
I feel very stupid that I can't write better than a 4-year-old. And I'm
well,
assuming that, this,
maybe not quite in those words,
yeah,
but
but,
yeah.
and I'm 16 or something. I took a test in 2006, 3 years after I graduated high school, and my spelling proficiency was, according to that test, it was first grade level.
Yikes.
And let's face it, I'm just dyslexic. And as a dyslexic person, I suck at spelling. Words, as much as I love reading, as much as I love writing, I suck at it. To the point where I look childish. Where my writing does not reflect my age. That's something I technically cannot help, but I can get help for it. I can have somebody look over my things.
Mhm.
There's spell check now. There's beta readers that you can go and find and pick somebody, and if that person's not working for you, you can drop them and go get another person you feel more comfortable with. I mean, there's all kinds of resources even for amateur writers to learn and get better.
Yep.
Any final thoughts?
I guess the thing you should really take away from this is that, just because, you know, just because you're not a very proficient technical writer, don't take criticism, in a way where it's like, well, fuck you if you don't like my shit. Just, if they have something good to say, listen to it, because you could have, a gem of a story buried underneath something that isn't very well written.
Mm-hmm.
Just like something that is well written might not necessarily be a good story.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, really, I I encourage everyone who has any interest in writing, really, really go and master your basics first. Learn your spelling, learn your capitalization, learn your punctuation, you know, learn all the stuff that is unerringly correct in how you're supposed to write. And then your creativity can speak for itself, and we don't have to, go on an archaeological dig for it.
I would have to say, if you're like myself and actually have a learning disability, which makes it hard to spell and thus hard to write, and sometimes words get jumbled together, even if you're just reading things, I would definitely say you can't go wrong with at least knowing the basics of sentence structure and how to format paragraphs and understanding how to put thoughts together in a coherent way so that the story will have its necessary 3 parts and readers can follow, and the idea can go from something of interest to the climax to the conclusion, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And if you have something like I do where you just can't spell worth shit, I would say just focus on the writing parts, because the spelling can be fixed with somebody giving it a couple of once-overs.
Right.
And then pointing out, like, well, this word's misspelled, you mean this. And then sometimes, your grammar could also be a little bit screwy. And really, I would say if you're somebody like me with possibly a disability that interferes with writing, in English at least, invest in a beta reader is really the only way you're going to solve that. And of course, somebody who's looking over your story for spelling or whatever, that could be a parent, that could be a sibling, it could be friends, it could be other family members, or maybe other people you know. You just have to ask them and make sure you are comfortable sharing what you're going to give them, because they might even, while they're reading your story, they might still give you their opinion of your story. So just be aware of that.
It's fine. And regardless of where your skill level is, or where you think your skill level is in writing, you always want a proofreader anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want another pair of eyes. You want somebody who isn't you.
Yeah.
Who has that, total absence of ego.
Yeah.
When it comes to that story, to look it over for you.
And again, if you're not happy with the editor you have, you can always change them. There's nothing that says once you pick up a beta or something, you have to keep them.
Right.
I mean, I would stay for a while and see how it goes, but if I was just continue to be unhappy, then I'd just be like, sorry, you're not working for me, I'm done. And then just drop them and then go looking for somebody that seems to focus in your weak areas and send it to them. I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting help. And there, of course, if you do have, again, a disability, there are ways to overcome it and to make it not an issue when you're writing and trying to get things published. Anything else you can think of?
Nope, I think we've said just about everything so far.
Alrighty then. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Hawkeye.
And this has been Bad Fanfiction Theater. Thank you for listening. Bye!